Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Biokinetic K9 live at 5 on your Facebook page, phone, wherever you are watching from. Hello and happy Friday to everybody. So I'm hoping that we are going to be enjoying this afternoon's talk. It was something that was really on my mind and it came to me. I'll tell you now about it. But just before we start, I'm Angela Hearn. I'm a canine athlete specialist, and I love these things. I also do myofascial release. I'm a practitioner of that, which is also just really, really awesome. So, Bob, hello, welcome. Just let me know if you can all hear me. If you are seeing me on a different group page, please go and visit my Biokinetic K9 page and like me there. Otherwise, I won't be able to see any of your comments. And if you have any questions, I can answer you right there. But let's get cracking. What is conditioning? Oh, my word. I've been thinking about this for a while. And then what happened is I was watching TV, and it was quite an interesting program about the Springbok rugby players. So that's our national sports team, like you get the All Blacks and all of that in rugby. It's a big program, and it's about how they rode to becoming the world champions last year. And the coach, or one of the big key guys in the team, he always said, like, wow, these players, they're really good guys. They've got so much potential. They can really play the game if only they did more conditioning. And that's exactly what happened. They entered into a full conditioning program for their entire journey towards the World Cup. And what happened? They became the world champions. It's like, wow. Under really trying conditions. And at the time, South Africa was going through a lot of more difficult nonsense then, but our rugby team came through and actually brought the whole country together. It had a huge impact, not only on the game and that they were world champions, but it had a real huge positive ripple effect through the country, world, everything. So, and all of this because they did some conditioning. So I was telling this to my son, and I was saying, I wonder what I can talk about on my Facebook Live. And I said to him, give me some ideas about like what conditioning things people may want to know, etc. And I was talking to him, and he looked at me and he said, well, Mark, what is conditioning? And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I always had that at the back of my mind, but I thought, people probably know, so let me carry on. But it was on my mind, do people actually know what conditioning is? And somebody asked me, well, what is conditioning? So that's why we're talking about it today. Conditioning, that's why I wrote it, exactly why it's all like in those ones and zeros and all of those things. It's what is it? And I find fitness and conditioning, or conditioning, it's a jargon word for me. It's a jargon word for those fitness and conditioning people out there, or your fitness and conditioning training, even for humans. It's a jargon word. But what is conditioning? So if I say, you must do some conditioning training with your dog, it's like, over the head. So let's see, what is it? Because many times, every dog needs conditioning. But what is it? And a lot of people that do sports with their dogs in particular need conditioning training. So let's see, what is the difference now? Because people that practice sports with their dogs, many of them believe, my dog is really fit. It's really doing what it can do. But so let's see, what is the difference? And when you are training for your sport, you're training for a particular skill. So the skill of performing in IGP, or the skill of agility, the skill of fly ball, the skill of dog timing. So let's see what now is the difference between skill training for your sport, for example, versus conditioning. What's the difference? Let's take it like this. If you're an athlete and you compete against someone with the same skill level as you, so even if you apply this to your dog, you are entering into IGP or agility or whatever sport, and you're competing against somebody else, and their training and skill level is exactly the same as yours, but they do a sports conditioning program as well, they will beat you. They will win. Because the skill training in sports is very different to targeted strength and conditioning training. It's very different, but they have a huge crossover. They really, really complement the sports, the strength and conditioning training makes your sports training go, wow. So if you are training in your sport and you are up against a competitor that is equal to you in skill, and they do conditioning training, they will beat you. That's what happened with our rugby players, because let me tell you, the world teams out there are really good. And some of those players, I mean, rugby and similar to American football for our American guys out there, there's various players on the team. Some are huge and strong and some are seriously fast and more agile. But here, our rugby team went on to a targeted and dedicated conditioning program, and they became world champions. So they were all equally good as a team, and they were in the World Cup. So they were up against equally skilled players. But their fitness and conditioning program gave them that extra bit. So what does your conditioning program, or what does conditioning entail? What does it mean? Conditioning means it's a dedicated all year round commitment to athletes, canine athletes, that usually include pre-season training, in-season training, post-season training, and off-season training. So it's different programs geared towards achieving certain goals in your sport. That's what conditioning all entails. It's a year-round dedicated program, and it keeps your dog in a particular condition for pre-season, in-season competition time, post-season, and off-season. So you have different programs geared towards these different areas of your training year. That's what your conditioning program entails. But you must keep your goal in mind. What is your goal? Because each conditioning program that you put together for your dog, it will depend on what the goal is. So even if the goal is pre-season fitness, or if it is in-season fitness and conditioning, or pre-trial, we're going in for a big trial, it's a national trial or it's a world trial, all your programs will change slightly depending on the goal. So not all sports activities have the same levels of conditioning. Take, for example, a soccer player versus a jiu-jitsu or an MMA player, mixed martial arts. They have got two different strength and conditioning programs altogether. The duration that a martial artist has to be inside a ring, but the intent is much shorter than that of a soccer player playing on the field. But the intensity that he has to, that MMA fighter has to work at for those 3 minutes per round, or whatever the minutes is, the intensity that his body has to work at is 100% capacity on most of his muscles, where a soccer player has to have that long endurance stamina for 90 minutes of running around, stop, start, go, changing direction, etc., etc. The two conditioning programs are completely different. So it's different for different goals, and it's different for different sporting activities. The exact same thing happens with dogs. You look at your fly ball dogs and you look at your Protection Sport Association dogs. Oh my word, two different things. Fly ball dogs is power and speed, straight ahead, jump off, come back as fast as they can for, oh geez, what did I see the other day? Not even 20 seconds. And they're just going. Oh my word, these dogs are so fast. Your PSA dogs, what are they doing? fighting somebody with all their might, chasing them down, turning, going around corners, dodging various things while they're at speed, and still have to have the strength and power to try and bring this human down. Two different requirements that their sports have got, and so their bodies need to go through completely different things. So your conditioning goals, the goal for that dog's condition of body is two different things. So always keep, what is your goal? Where are you heading? Where are you now? And work on your goal. That must fit in with your conditioning program. What does conditioning do? What we've said that if you do a conditioning program, you will be better than the next person that is equally skilled as you, if you include that conditioning program. But what improves performance? Why have extra conditioning? Why do their performances improve? A program is put together so that your dog has better power. He has better strength and speed, better power. He has better balance in a situation, in the use of his body. Balance in the use of his body. Which part of his body to make strong at what time it is needed. He has the strength, he's got agility, he's agile on his feet. He can change direction quickly and easily because he's strong enough to do so, and his body has the muscle capacity to do so. He's got the correct amount of endurance for the sport that he's working in, that is required of him. And we're talking about not only cardio endurance, but also muscle endurance and stamina. How long can he use his muscles at full capacity? And how long can he use his muscles where he's going as far as he can without becoming fatigued? So all of these require different muscle capacities. Some is 90 to 100%, and some is 60% or less. How do we use these things properly? And then, of course, his coordination will be vastly improved if he's using the correct program and protocols and exercises for these things. So that's what makes performance much better, is if you have better power and strength, you have better balance, you're more agile, you are better at balance and coordinating your body. And if you do all these things in the right way and at the right time, and you want to maintain your dog's best fitness base for that specific sport, then that will help your dog become the athlete that is more flexible, he's stronger, and he's ready to engage in competitions. He's just ready. So wherever you are on your fitness journey for the year, you can do a small tweak and your dog will be ready. His body will be physically ready. So even if you are out of season, but you continue with an out of season fitness and conditioning program, as soon as there is an upcoming seminar or demonstration that is required, a small tweak gets your dog ready. So you're ready to attend the seminar. You can endure an entire seminar that lasts a few days. Your dog has the ability to engage and improve because he has that stamina, strength, and endurance to perform, even though it's not pre-trial or in season. That's what improves performance, to get that fitness baseline for a specific sport, so that all you need to do is a slight tweak and your dog is ready to compete. That is what makes a conditioning program make performance go well. What are these elements that we are talking about? What elements are we looking for in conditioning a dog for the sport that he does? Conditioning elements is like not just one or two things. It's a whole holistic mix of elements. It's a holistic adventure almost, because you're looking at various aspects, not only of your dog, but also of the sport and everything. So what we're doing is you're going to be incorporating elements of conditioning to the dog. So nothing just stands on its own. You always have to match it up to the dog. And when we're talking about to the dog, we're always looking at the age of your dog. This is really important, the age of your dog. So if your dog is still a puppy, what type of conditioning can you give your dog, your puppy, so that his body can grow up safely and strong and be prepared for should he go into sport one day? And so that there's less injuries in his growth, even while he's all lopsided because he's still growing. How can you protect that body? So the age of your dog. If your dog is more senior, how can you protect that body? What's happening to a senior dog's body that program would have to change, because a senior dog's body is not the same as a normal adult dog's body. So you're looking at the age of your dog. You're looking at the shape or the structure of your dog. Some dogs are more angulated than others. Some dogs are more upright than others. Some dogs are long and lean. Some dogs are more squat and they've got a longer back or a shorter back, or they're more square. You're looking at the shape and the structure of your dog, because the shape and the structure of a dog creates different strengths and different weaknesses within that body. And the conditioning program has to target the weak areas to make them strong and to get a good balance and safe outline of your dog's body for the sport that he's doing. You also have to look at your dog's current fitness level. Where do you start? You want to reach a nice fitness base, but where is your dog now? Is he fit? Is he too fit? Do you need to bring him to a nice happy medium? Otherwise he can injure himself. Dogs that are overly fit are prone to injury too. Is the dog recovering? Was he ill and now he's recovering? Where is the fitness level now? What's the condition of your dog now? Are they overweight? Do you need to get them to lose a bit of weight but safely and increase their exercise levels safely? What would you incorporate in that program to get a desired optimal result for your dog? And of course, very important, you always look at what sport or work that dog is engaged in. Each sport, like we said, is different. Jiu-jitsu, soccer, they will have a different program for different requirements of the sport. So if you're looking at all of those things just in the dog, what are you looking at when it comes to conditioning elements for those things in the dog? Well, you're looking at things such as how to gain strength and power, because your dog needs strength and power regardless of what he's doing, but each sport requires them differently. So what are you going to engage in? A real strength and power program, or average strength and power just to get the dog speed up? Are you going to be looking at agility? How agile must your dog be in his sport? What imbalances is your sport creating in your dog's body that makes him not as agile as he should be? Is he more restricted on the left side or on the right side? What's happening in your dog's sport? So you want to improve agility. You want to improve endurance, but not just of cardio and respiratory endurance. Also, stamina within the muscle usage and power that the muscles are used, and for how long that power and maximum power is being used. You want to then also have good flexibility, but not so flexible that they lose their strength, because if the dog is overly flexed, they can lose a stretched muscle. Is a weak muscle, but you can cause the muscles to stretch and still remain strong if you do it correctly. There's a lot of overstretching that's happening in some of the dogs, and some of the dogs are getting a little bit hypermobile, and that is just as dangerous as a dog that is not stretched at all. So how do you stretch safely while maintaining the strength in the muscle, so that the muscle has the ability to reach far and not tear in the sport? That's what you want to look at. You also want to look at getting your dog to be his dexterity, his coordination, and his he knows where he needs to put his feet in order to be safe on the ground. All of these things, all these conditioning elements need to go in the program, and how to work that program out for your dog in whatever sport he is doing. So if you look at what is conditioning, it's a lot of stuff. You're looking at holistically your dog, the dog that's and the sport that it's doing, the dog, how it looks in the sports that it's doing. How does it fit into the sport that you're doing? How does it complement the skills training that you have to do in order to develop your sport. So if you're a very skilled handler, but your dog hasn't got so if you're a very skilled handler and you train really well and you know exactly how to train your sport and you train your dog in the sport, but your dog hasn't got the necessary conditioning, he hasn't got the necessary physical condition for his body to be optimal in his sport, then the next person that is equally good as you will win. An equally good handler. So the conditioning element, it gives you that edge for your sport. If your dog is properly conditioned and you know how to use the exercises and you know how to direct the exercises through your dog's body, you are building a strong machine of a body that can form the sport that you want for your dog. That makes it so exciting. Oh, I love it. You can see a dog who has gone through conditioning programs. You can see it just in the way they move their body. Their entire body moves on purpose and with ease and grace. Oh my word. Even dogs playing in the backyard, but that one dog has got conditioning, that movement in the play, you can see it a mile. It is beautiful to see. Beautiful. So now, why should we do it? Besides, well, you getting an edge on your dog. What are the benefits of conditioning? We've said that it improves and boosts performance. This is without question. We've seen it in humans. It boosts performance. That's just how it does. It increases strength, boosts performance. But really, this is the nicest part. It prevents injury. If there is an injury, the recovery is so much faster. But the injury, most injuries are prevented in the first place. So you've got this better performance, better strength in performance, but that lowered risk of injury. And this, for me, is really important, not just because, well, you don't want a dog to be injured. It's got to be a nice, healthy dog, etc. What about all the time and effort you're putting in the skills for your sport? And then you carry on doing the skills for your sport, and you're pushing your dog, and he hasn't got conditioning, and an injury happens. All that time, oh my word, you don't want to go there. If an injury does occur and your dog has got conditioning exercises available and he knows them, that injury is so much faster in its repair. It's a no-brainer, but not just the normal benefits of conditioning where you got better performance and lowered injury risk. There's hidden benefits, and these are really nice because these are the skills that you require on the field. And your additional hidden benefits is this increased self-confidence on the field, because the dog just knows he's more confident in his body. He's more confident that he has to go and fight a helper, not just here, but in his body. And of course, if you're confident, that self-confidence, if you're walking with that, then you are already a winner. It boosts cognitive skills, so that ability to think and problem solve. And what should I do here? How must I move my body in order to get to what is required? And eventually that movement of the body becomes almost like a machine, and it just moves without anything getting stuck, where the dog just knows how to move. So that mental ability of knowing what to do with his body, that cognitive skill, that ability to think through a problem and to work through it. And then by the time he's on the field, all these things are just like a no-brainer for him, an absolute no-brainer. And then, of course, you have mental strength. Cognitive skills provide mental strength. So that mental toughness, that ability to push through. I know our hunting dogs need that, because sometimes a hunting trial can go on for days. And the dogs that are at the winning side of this race, they are having to push through some of the most difficult terrains and to fetch water retrieves out of the water and fight their way through reeds. That mental toughness, mental strength comes through. Your dog develops body techniques, movement technique that creates strength. They know how to use their muscles and to move their muscles in a stronger way than somebody just trying to run. If I just have to run down the street now, oh my word, my run is going to be just, oh, yes, a joke. There's going to be no power in me running and moving my arms, etc. But watch a sprinter. Watch how he runs. When he just runs, forget the speed. The power in his arms, the power in the trunk of his body, the power in his legs, that technique of movement comes through. And that technique is like breathing for him. If I have to just work on a technique right now, I'll be finished. Never mind still running down the road. But that technique carries that professional athlete through, and you see it in how they move. So it helps you get quicker, fuller recovery from any injuries. It delays fatigue, so your dog can do his sport for longer in a session. You can train for longer in a session. In your seminar, you can actually work the dog all the way through. When it comes to helper work or agility work, you can work the dog. They can work longer than the 30 seconds that they need for their trial. So it delays fatigue, and it gives you a higher quality of life for your dog, and a higher quality of life for just normal living, but a higher quality of life as an athlete too. And that for me is worth everything. It's worth everything. You'll become closer with your dog because you're doing extra exercises with him that are not demanding and points like a trial. You'll have all of these things. So these additional hidden benefits of conditioning, they are immeasurable. They're priceless. You can't put a price on higher quality of life and even the quality of life as an athlete. That for me says it all. So I hope that you've enjoyed it, because sports, it can be really competitive, it can be overwhelming, and there's a lot of pressure involved when it comes to sports. And it's important for athletes to have a program that significantly boosts your dog's performance. You want to have that. You've got so many pressures as it is. So you want the performance to at least be all it can be with a lowered risk of injury. So even the most talented athletes have to have their performance, they have to have proper technique, and they have to boost their speed, strength, and stamina in order to have a leading edge. It's not just the skill that is required. You need all of those things to have that small leading edge. And that is what sports conditioning does. So conditioning, that's what it does. It's getting your dog's body into the condition it needs to successfully do its sport even more. All right. So I hope this has helped you make a good decision as to what the best sports conditioning program you should get for your dog. If you are not sure, that's why I'm here. You can contact me. My name is Angela Hearn, Certified Canine Athlete Specialist. I am the owner and founder of the Biokinetic K9. You are most welcome to see my website to learn more about me at thebiokinetick9.com, or email me for any questions at fit@thebiokinetick9.com. So I hope you guys have now learned about what conditioning is, and you have a better understanding. Conditioning is that magic that makes your sport all the more, or your working dog all the more. So have a fantastic weekend. Give your dogs a big hug. Do some stuff with them. And it's getting warmer here in South Africa. And I saw one of my members training outside with the hat on and everything. It's getting colder in the northern suburbs. So have a good afternoon, everybody. And I will see you all next week. Cheers. Let me get all my details up into the screen. Here we go. And bye-bye.